I'm still trying to catch up. So, whew. So
Hey,
you're on my phone. My phone's on top of my laptop. So
that's cool. Here we go. We're live.
okay.
So, hey, Max Living Chiropractic First Faithful, want to introduce you to Olympic gold medalist Rulon Gardner, who is headed here to Illinois here just in a little over a week to teach and engage wrestlers in the area. But wanted to just spend a few minutes really hearing his story and, sharing more about what's up to come. So, Rulon, just tell us a little bit about you and for all those that are excited to see you coming to Illinois.
Yeah, I'm excited to come to the Rockford area and around and be part of the wrestling community by trade. But then it's not just wrestling; it's kind of life. My journey. I've been to Illinois so many times, wrestling at Northwestern and going up to Wisconsin, wrestling there, and just having actually friends and being out there. So for me, this is an opportunity to come in and there's so many people in Northern Illinois that have been like, man, we got to get you here. And I'm just a wrestler. I don't think I'm really anything that special, but people are like, man, your story, the adversity, the challenges you've been through, the hardships, your physicality, all those things are what people need to hear about, because I grew up youngest of 9 kids on a farm in Wyoming with a learning disability and wasn't supposed to, graduate high school. I had a brother who beat me up in wrestling until I was a senior in high school. And then I went to junior college and ultimately graduated from Nebraska with my teaching degree. And then thought, what's the Olympics about? And went and tried out for the Olympics. And in the process, the Russian Alexander Karelin threw me on my head in 1997. He beat me 5-0, but I broke 2 vertebrae in my neck. And I came back and, came back 3 years later, won the Olympics, beat him, and then came back. I won the World Championships the year after in 2001. And then I almost died snowmobiling and came back from that tragedy. I lost 1 toe to amputation and I lost the feeling in both feet, came back and made the 2004 team, made the team and ended up winning the Olympic bronze medal with 9 toes. And so for me, my story is kind of the comeback kid. Just keep coming back, Life throws you down, beats you down, get back up and you learn from it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're, would you say it's fair to say that you're most famous for your gold medal where you beat the Russian there? I mean, that story is Dr. Ben's favorite. I know he had told me about that. Can you tell everybody a little more, like for those that aren't quite as familiar, how that went and he hadn't been beaten in years and just a little more about it?
Yeah. The individual that we're referring to, his name is Alexander Karelin. He was 13-time world and Olympic champion, never lost a match since he was like 17 years old and at the senior level of wrestling. So he was the best for 13 years. And I remember, first getting done with college wrestling and got done. And I'm like, what's this Greco-Roman thing? And so I was in my 20s when I figured out what Greco-Roman was. And I went out and I experienced it. I got my butt kicked, quite a bit the first, few practices, first few years. And in 1997, it was actually my second, going in my 3rd year of wrestling Greco-Roman. I went out and I made the world team. McAfari, who I had to compete with later to make the Olympic team, was a 3-time world and Olympic silver medalist. And so he was number 1. And that year I made the team. He took a year off and I went to the Worlds and I got to wrestle Karelin and he beat me 5-0 and threw me on my head. He broke my neck. And, I kind of did a scorpion where my, basically tried to break me in half. And so ended up coming off there and realizing that he was pretty dang good. And so I came back to America and not only did I have to worry about beating Karelin, but I had to beat the other Americans. And I had 2 others that were, McAfari Olympic silver medalist and Jamil Byers, who became a world champion. So I had a lot of competition to get there and finally overcame those other 2 opponents in 2000 at the Olympic trials, went in and made the Olympic team. And in the semifinals at the Olympics, I'm losing 2-0 to a Russian who had defected to Israel, and I'm losing. And I come back and I finally beat him 3-2. And so I walk out there against Karelin, who's undefeated, hadn't been scored on like 7 years. And I just went out there, and the thing that made me a good wrestler was my tenacity, my physicality. I'm short. Karelin was 6'6", and I'm 6'1". And these guys were always bigger, stronger, more talented. But that American fighting spirit is what kind of gave me the chance to, as my coach said, Rulon has a dirty, mean streak. You get to that streak, and he turns it on. And you just find ways to will yourself to be successful. And that's what I did to win the Olympics.
I love that. Now, you're actually coming to Pecatonica High School here fairly shortly. Can you just, for our viewers, tell everybody a little bit about what you're going to be doing, teaching, and who should come to that event?
Yeah, we're doing a clinic on Saturday, and it's going to be like a 5-hour clinic. It's going to be a lot of, for my philosophy strategy is, you don't just teach somebody wrestling. You need to kind of give them the mentality, the steps of how we progress, because we all progress differently, but we all, to get to that top level, you have to make those decisions. And so for me, I want kids to break it down and not just think about winning and losing. As you get better and more adjusted and more, typically used to the speed every second, at the highest level, I was analyzing every possible position I was in. And when you start wrestling, you have no clue. And so it's about building confidence, about building a base foundation, understanding, and then finding ways to give kids to take ownership of the technique that you teach them. I think in life, if we don't take ownership of our mental and our physical and our psychological, we go astray. And so a lot of times we lose focus of the things that matter. And so for me in wrestling, I progress from a basic level all the way up to the top level. And once you've been there, and now I'm back training and competing and having fun at a high level. I'm 51 years old and I'm competing I was at practice last night against a kid that was 23 years old. And, I hate to say it, but I kind of whooped up on him a little bit. And he's a stud wrestler from California. But it's to a point to where, even, my old national team coach said to me this morning, he's like, you still got it. He's like, you still have that thought process, that mentality. And it took years, because as a kid growing up, I had coaches just walk away and say, you'll never get it, Rulon. It's beyond you. And I think dealing with adversity, like I won the Worlds in 2001, the year after I won the Olympics. And that year I had a partially separated shoulder, I had a broken rib, and I had a broken hand. And I won the Worlds that year, because you always go through pain and suffering. And, and I know we talked about earlier is, going through like chiropractic and being in physical pain, being in a position where your body's not quite 100%. And, that now I'm 51 years old. I feel it every day. I get up, I still can't feel my feet from the frostbite. And I've just learned to live with life and, make the best of it in every day, in every situation. And, after I won the Olympics, won the Worlds, I come back and win the Olympic bronze medal. And most people are like, the bronze medal is probably more impressive than beating the best wrestler ever, because everybody knows you couldn't feel your feet, but just what a story. And for me, growing up on the farm, we all have amazing stories. And for me, it was just part of who I've become. And, that's what I want to share with kids, and just share with them that vision that you can get to where you want to be. It may not be easy. It may not be fun. You may get hurt along the way, but you set a goal, anything's possible.
Yeah, I love that. Now, your class or your training is open from first graders all the way through high school seniors. We listed the link in the comments here. So for anybody that's interested or knows they need to go to this, click on the link in the comments and you can get registered. Now, I realized right before we got on the phone today that I had met you before when you came and taught at one of our seminars. Dr. Ben Lerner was one of my mentors and one of your chiropractors. So would you just tell everybody a little bit about, one of those chiropractic stories you told me earlier on how it's benefited you and how you utilize it for all those watching?
Oh, 100%. I first got exposed to chiropractic in 1997, about 4 months before I broke my neck. I was wrestling at the World Team Trials, and a guy named Billy Pierce threw me on my head, and I couldn't function. I ended up winning the tournament and went to the Worlds, and I went for the next 4 days. I couldn't function. I'm like, I got to do something. I couldn't move. Went to the chiropractor that day. It wasn't perfect, but as he adjusted me, my body started getting put back in alignment and healed myself up. And for the next few weeks, I got adjusted every day, and my body was better. I broke my neck with Corellin. And then I remember in 2001, the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, the Olympics, they didn't really believe in chiropractic. Oh, we don't know if it's true. And we kept bugging them. And that's when I got to meet Ben. I was at practice one day and I walked in and I'm like, oh, I couldn't even bend over, and I could barely touch my knees with my hands. I'm like, I can't practice today. And I'm like, what do I do, coach? And they're like, oh, go see the chiropractor. I'm like, oh, there's a chiropractor here now? They're like, yeah. They brought a chiropractor, and it was Ben. So I went down there, and walked in the room and I'm like, oh, and, you know, had to wait a few minutes to get on the table. And I'm just like, I don't think I can practice. And I'm missing practice. I never miss practice because, you know, every day you miss an opportunity to get better. It's a day that you miss an opportunity to get better. And I remember him getting on the table and I'm like, oh, okay. And he adjusted me and it was cool, whatever. And I walked back in the wrestling room and I was in wrestling mode. And when you're in wrestling mode, you're there to go. And I got back in the wrestling room, like, I don't know. And he's like, can you touch your toes? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm ready to go. So I ran out and changed my clothes, went in and went to practice. And since then, I was a huge believer in chiropractic and got to, you know, get to know.
Oh, I think we lost you.
Am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Yep. Sorry, I have another world champion calling me. I'm going to train with his boys this weekend. So, no, I went and then, you know, I became a believer in chiropractic. And, you know, like I told you before, I was on The Biggest Loser and they weren't a big supporter of chiropractic. And I was like, you're crazy. I said, I can't function. I was on the show and my body will shut down. If I don't get adjusted regularly, my body will shut down and I can't function. I can't bend over. So for me, finding a chiropractor is just part of daily life. I need to be adjusted probably at least once a week or, you know, at least 3 times a month for me to even be able to function.
Sure. No, I love when you say, because we say all the time, chiropractic increases function in all areas of the body, whether you feel it or not. And I mean, it just, you're a living testament to that.
Oh yeah. Every day I get up and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm stretching. People are like, what are you doing? I'm like, you know, and I was at US Nationals last year and Les Scutch's brother's a chiropractor and, you know, he's just going through and I said, hey, I'm like, I'm a chiropractor. I'm like, can you adjust me? And he went over, he didn't have his table and he's over there working on me. He's like, do you have migraines? I'm like, no. He's like, you don't? He's like, you know, like right now, he's like physically ruling your body is just clenched up all the time because of the trauma and the stuff I've went through in wrestling. And it's just so hard to stay relaxed and teach your body that it's okay to relax. And that was, you know, as a training in wrestling. And, you know, I couldn't look down upon it because like I have a brother who's a year older and he looks like he's 30 years older than me. And wrestling has kept me happy and, you know, not so much healthy, but in the last years, you know, last year I've lost a lot of weight getting back to the wrestler that I was. And, you know, chiropractic is such a big part of it. You know, if you don't take accountability in our lives and, you know, realize our health is fleeting, if we don't appreciate it, our bodies won't last forever. So we got to take care of them when we have them.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate that. Well, for all watching and all listening, take advantage of the wrestling tournament Saturday, November 19th, correct?
It is. Yeah. Saturday. It's Saturday morning. And then Sunday night, we're having a dinner. We're going to go in and I'm going to get up there and do a motivational talk and talk about my 7 steps to overcome an obstacle, back to the basics, turn a negative into a positive, enlist other people, train hard, take care of business, aim high when you're feeling low, you know, after frostbite, after, you know, all the mishaps I've had, I just keep getting back up. And people, you know, the Olympic Channel did a documentary on me 2 years ago. It was Rulon Won't Die. And then, you know, because of COVID, they changed the name, and an ordinary man with an extraordinary journey, because I didn't start from anything, but I've just been relentless. And, you know, it may not always be pretty. It may always not be successful. You know, I couldn't beat my brother until my senior year, and I was good with losing. And after I lost at the bronze medal at the, you know, in the semifinals of the Olympics in 2004, and they're like, oh, you lost to, you know, what are you going to do? You didn't win a gold medal. I'm like, go win a bronze. And they're like, aren't you destroyed? I'm like, yeah, it sucks, but I've lost plenty of matches in life. It's not about just winning. It's about living every day up to your expectation. And sometimes we fall short. And so sometimes we have to get back up, keep after it. And it's amazing how many people will get out of your way and get on board with you because they see that you are a person that they want to emulate. So many people have told me through the years, like, man, Rulon, your drive, you know, you don't think you cannot, you know, succeed in anything. You keep going and going. Even when you've been knocked down, you should have just counted yourself out. I said, I don't know, quit. I don't know. I'm just going to just show up and hopefully survive. No, I'm going to go out there. And if I fail, you know what, learn from it and get back up and go out and succeed the next time.
You got it. Hey, just love. Thanks so much for your time today. Again, for those watching, Olympic gold medalist Rulon Gardner coming to Illinois here just a week or so. Have a very blessed.
I'll have my Olympic medals with me. Take them on, take a picture. I can pick you up, throw you around like a helicopter. And, you know, I'm 50 years old, but we can still have some fun. And you know, it's just so fun to get down there and just share, you know, my image. I have a wrestling club. I work with a lot of high school kids, and it's just like so many kids, you know, think that their potential has been realized by going to state their senior year. I'm like, I won the Olympics at 29 years old. That's when I was finally getting good. Now I'm 50. I was learning a new technique in practice last night. And I'm like, oh man, I'm like, this is so cool. You know, look at what you could do. And it's just that process of engaging yourself and, you know, not just making a difference in your life, but the people around you. We always make each other better. And that's what this world's about, is creating a better surrounding from day on and, you know, day forward, you know, every time getting an opportunity to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks again. See you
Okay.
in just a bit.
Okay. Look forward to it. See you soon, guys.